On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Well, I hope your weekend went well. Good morning. Good morning, one and all. Good morning to the viewing audience. Good morning to the listening audience out there. Good morning to the Fanatic Feedback Zone. Welcome to another installment of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Of course, I'm not Snowman. I am the other half of this show, Cole Johnson. The Snowman will probably join us momentarily. On tap for the rest of the show, at the bottom of the first hour, we will drink coffee with McCarthy. That's with Ryan McCarthy of No Credentials Required fame. And in the bottom of the second hour, we will touch base with Jay Spivey, and we'll have Spivey notes. We'll touch on North Carolina sports and other media happenings as well. But we're at the top of the first hour, so you already know what that means. Whip around time. Start with why is it Hefe's favorite team, the New York Yankees, and it looks like the team that has been sort of languishing in the bottom of the AL East might get a boost. Aaron Judge made his long-awaited return from his injury in L.A., and now the Yankees are beginning their postseason push. Now he, of course, took the field at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and of course, he wanted to be back as badly as the Yankees and Yankees fan needed him. So he returned to the lineup in nearly 2 months, for the first time in nearly 2 months. And of course, you all know he crashed into the right field fence at Dodger Stadium and basically messed up his foot. So now he joins a team that needs his presence in the lineup. Well, they need his presence everywhere. Lineup, bullpen, starting pitching, defense, wherever. But he's excited to be back, and he had this to say about his return. Quote, I just wanted to get back. Even if we were winning and we had an 8-game leading division, or we were 10 games out of it, which that's where they are now, I wanted to be back out there and battle with the guys. I just want to be there when times are tough, and I want to be there when we're rolling. So just had to get things right. And I think this was the biggest thing. We had to wait for this thing to start the healing process, and then now we're ready to roll. Close quote. As I said, the timing could not be better for one, Mr. Judge, and actually the timing could have been better than him for the Yankees, because they need to have his bat, his glove, and his presence as the current El Capitan of the Bronx Bombers. The Diamond, we're going into the NL Central, where the Reds extend the contract of David Bell through the 2026 season. For the second time, easy for me to say this. For the second time in his tenure with the Reds, Bell entered a season that was a contract year. And in that contract year, he got extended. Now, Bell has been the Reds manager since 2019. The team was built up as a contender in 2020. And then they finally made the playoffs. But then 2022, and a rebuilding process has begun. And it looks like it's successful thus far. The Reds of this year have entered the playoff race with a dynamic lineup that's filled with some of the best rookies in the game. and they've embraced Bell's message to play aggressively and become the best base running team in the majors. They're now 56-48, entering the NL playoff race right now. They're battling with the Brewers for NL Central supremacy. And speaking of NL Central, Miles Mikolas now is suspended for 5 games for dotting the I, not necessarily EYE, but dotting the batter Ian Happ of the Cubs. MLB Senior Vice President for On-Field Operations Michael Hill, he announced Friday that Mikolas has been suspended for 5 games and fined for intentionally hitting him in the 10-3 loss to the Cubbies Thursday night at New Bush in St. Louis. The incident happened in the top of the first. Happ swung through a slider from Mikolas and hit the catcher Wilson Contreras in the head with his follow-through. Contreras exited the game with a bleeding gash on his head, which was replaced by Andrew Knitzer. The very next pitch, Mikolas decided to throw a four-seam fastball up and in on Happ that forced the Cubs outfielder to get out the way. Then Mikolas nailed Happ with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball on his hiney. Happ was awarded first base. Mikolas was then ejected from the game after all 4 umpires consulted one another. Well, I understand that there has to be justice on the field, but you got to be careful when you dot. Well, it really doesn't matter for the Cardinals. They're not really competing for much. In fact, could you even call them sellers in the in the upcoming trade deadline? Yeah. No, they're just languishing and praying that next year comes sooner rather than later. The diamond to the hardwood. The NBA is telling Damian Lillard, look, tell every team that is willing to trade for you that you are going to accept whatever deal they put on the table for you. And if you say otherwise, something might happen and your consequences might be dire. So the NBA circled this information this past Friday that Lillard and his agent confirmed the All-Star guard would honor his contract with any potential trade partner. And this was despite the agent saying that Lillard would only want to be dealt to the Heat. Now, the memo was sent to general managers and obtained through the Associated Press. It also warned Lillard that he would also be subject to discipline throughout the league if he or his agent, Aaron Goodwin, would make additional comments suggesting he wouldn't fully perform the requirements his contract would say in the event of a trade anywhere else but South Beach. Now, Goodwin told AP on the 6th of July the following, quote, Dame's position won't change. This entire situation was about building an opportunity for Portland to win or giving him another opportunity that he wants, which is in Miami. Close quote. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how this is going to go. It looks like the battle has just begun. Oh boy, I really hate for this to happen, and it looks like it might be that Dame might be staying put in Portland, languishing at a team that is now rebuilding. What a mess. Back to the diamond and the Cubs, and back to the Cubs too. The turnaround on the field has led to a change of strategy off of it, because coming into July, the Cubs were sellers. But as the All-Star break loomed and as the All-Star break went past and the Cubs went on a wild winning streak, they actually relented. One of those persons who was going to be the seller or help the Cubs be a seller was outfielder Cody Bellinger. Well, he was dangled out there, but he officially will not be traded, according to sources familiar with the situation. Now, the 8-game winning streak that the Cubs were on, it ended yesterday with a 3-0 shutout to the Cardinals. They will instead look to add relief as they close the gap in the NL Central because currently they are now only 3.5 games behind the Brewers and also 3.5 games out of the final National League wildcard spot. Now, the 28-year-old is having a resurgent year after signing that one-year deal worth $17 million with the Cubs. He's hitting .315, and he has an on-base percentage of 540. So things look like they're on the up and up for him. Things are on the up for the Cubs. Of course, the trade deadline ends tomorrow, so let's see what the Cubs can unearth. Who knows what they will pull. Finally, on the gridiron, Aaron Rodgers rips Sean Payton for insecure comments about the Jets offensive coordinator and former Broncos head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. It looks like the beef has gotten a whole lot spicier, as the longtime friend of Mr. Hackett warned that Payton should keep his coach's name out of his mouth. Now, Rodgers went on to say yesterday, quote, "I love Nathaniel Hackett," and those comments were very surprising for a coach to do that to another coach. "I thought it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth." Close quote. Further discussion of this situation and the thoughts thereof will be addressed again later on in hour number 1 as we go coffee with McCarthy. And that concludes today's Whip Around. Planet Feedback Zone, we head before we go take our first break. The Godfather Dom. What's up, brother? I hope everything's good with you this morning. And stay safe out there. Everything is good on this front. I hope you're having a good morning as well, Dom. And we will now take our break. And when we come back, we will touch on the hint of a name change with the Commanders. And it might be to a familiar old name. What do I mean? Back in 2 and 2.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
'Cause we take this job so serious.
Man, I went home that day and talked to my wife, Vicky. And Vicky was like, "What's wrong with you? You pissed off?" "Yeah, I got this partner I'm working with back in the radio station. Man. The Negro be lying." What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes It's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. That's our brother Chris Bass. We enjoy every single Friday at the bottom of the second hour when he joins us. Of course, that will be Friday. But this is Monday, and later on in the first hour, you will get Coffee with McCarthy, and you actually might get a special treat as he actually might pull it solo. But Coffee with McCarthy will be at the bottom of this hour. Now, what we're going to do now, though, is touch on the scuttlebutt that has happened ever since the ownership change in Landover, Maryland. Yes, the team that plays in that city is the Washington Commanders. That's what they currently are named. Of course, they could have been named many other names, but they decided to go with, Snyder. Daniel Snyder decided to go with Commanders. My brain hurts still to this day thinking about it. Well, anyway, the current head coach of the Commanders, Ron Rivera, he alludes to a nickname option, and one that we have heard before. Well, you have to understand. So this all started when Magic Johnson, of course, the Basketball Hall of Famer and the owner of many different professional franchises, the Dodgers, the Sparks, and there's other teams that he owns too. I think he has ownership in soccer too. He's hinted at it. The majority owner of the Commanders, Josh Harris, he's also hinted at it. And now it is Rivera's turn. And he had this to say about the nickname might being an old one. Interesting to think, right? Quote, well, I know this. Mr. Harris and that ownership group talked extensively about bringing back the glory. What Coach Gibbs did, the traditions, that alumni group of guys that are around, it's hard to escape it. It really is. That's just the truth of the matter. So just so everybody knows, we do that with the utmost respect for the native tribes and for the American Indian. Anytime that name is brought up, it is brought up with the utmost of respect. Close quote. Now, I know my broadcast partner is going to be extremely upset when he will realize that I actually had this teed up for him to knock out the park so he could play Hail to the Redskins and bore you all for the following 10 minutes. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is say that I get why they want to restore the luster, restore the tradition. I get it. And I get why Snowman himself wants the name to be returned. I get that too. It sparks up nostalgia. It gives forth breath. It makes people think, I have the ties of the past, and they link up to the present. And we, as human beings, aren't really reticent to change. So when you see that change happen, that's problematic. Now, when that change is also forced by corporate means, that too is problematic. And the reason why this change happened in the first place was because you had the previous owner, Daniel Snyder, have his hand forced, because in the Washington Post 10 years ago, he actually did say, quote, the name of this team is the Redskins. You can quote me on that and put it in bold print and in all caps. Close quote. So we fast forward 7 years with the scuttlebutt of what has happened with him and in the front office, and with, of course, the onset of the 650,000 email that was exchanged between John Gruden and then the president of the team, Bruce Allen, and this toxic workplace situation. All of these things coalesced into, and then on top of it, what happened away from the field and in society in general, it forced hands of Nike and Coca-Cola and FedEx to say to Snyder, quote, change the name of your team, or we will change where we will patronize our business. Close quote. And I have said this often, and I will keep saying it. When it comes to these NFL owners, money talks, everything else walks. It does not matter who it is. If the money talks enough, the owners are going to move. And they're going to move like they're dancing like Chris Brown on the stage. They're going to act and acquiesce to whatever you pressure them to do, because if you say to them, we're going to take away monetary support from your franchise, that is what the owners do not want to do. You can have a stupid boycott of whatever. You can claim that you'll pull. You can claim you will not visit the stadium. You can claim that you have denounced your right to the fandom of the team. It doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is, okay, if you're going to pull money, I have to do something. I have to do something to make sure that, that money's important to me. You can't go. Please stay. We're going to take care of the situation. That's what happened to Snyder. And then, of course, the rush to name this team something new. And then he comes up with a pedantic, a bland, a vanilla name for a nickname for the team. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So there is an online petition that's going out right now. Yes, an online petition. And the online petition is gaining steam and picking up progress because there are 20,000 names on this petition to have the name Redskins restored as a nickname for the Washington NFL franchise. Now, I know I have broken my normal stance on this, which is I will never mention the slur, but I did. But in this case, it's a news story in which I'm mentioning it. I get why people want it, and I get why it's no longer a name. I get why it's no longer a nickname. I get why it is something that is now dead and buried to some, and why the team now is dead and buried to others. I understand that. I do. The truth of the matter, though, is no matter what you think about the burgundy and gold, what does matter is you have a lot of tradition that's there. You have a team that is hungry, that is clamoring for any type of good juice and mojo to come back to the franchise, because ever since 1999, the team has just done a tailspin dive, and they want to have the glory that they had when Joe Gibbs was there. You know, when they won the Super Bowl in 1982, and they won it again in 1987, and then when they won it again in 1991. They want to return to that type of glory. They want to have that type of team and have a franchise where every year they were in contention for a Super Bowl, that they were in talks, in conversations of, you got to watch out for this team. You got to watch out for Burgundy Gold. They are something. And we talked about them like that for roughly a decade. That's what Washington wants to get back to, and they have been scrambling for that and clamoring for it and itching and frothing at the mouth to get the positive energy that they finally have received last week when the power was exchanged from one ownership group to another. So, of course, it stands to reason. It stands to chance that, we want to go back to the way things were. So, yeah, I understand why you have this groundswell of wanting to have the name changed. I understand it. It's there. It's palpable. Like I said, you want to have the new be gone. You want to have the old restored, because all things are good in memories. You have this wonderful feeling of nostalgia. And when nostalgia whips you up, you revert to being a child. And I'm not saying this as an insult. I'm saying this as it's good emotion. Because normally when you think of anything as a child, you think of it in glowing terms. You don't think of when you ride your bike and you fall off and you skin your elbow. You don't think of childhood that way. You don't think of childhood of when you get your butt whooped. Now, you can talk about those stories, of course. But when you think of childhood memories, those aren't what comes up. What comes up is when you hung with your buddies, or when you when you were grossed out and kissing a girl or a boy, if you're a woman, or a girl at the time, or the moments that you sit down and you watch whatever sport, if you're a guy, or some women actually. The first time you remember sitting down and you watch whatever sport with your father or even your mother, or when you get further along in older childhood, like in junior high or high school, the moment of, okay, we'll say, for me, I'll even go back to Washington lore. The Monday Night Football game in 1985 when Joe Theismann played his last game. I remember it vividly. November 18th, 1986. It was absolutely frightening. Or it's 85, 86. I can't remember which year. But I know it was mid-80s. That much I do know. So, and I know it was November 18th. So Theismann drops back the pass, and you see, and they're playing the Giants. And Washington was wearing then their traditional white tops with burgundy pants. And then they were playing the Giants that had number 5-6. That's right. Lawrence Taylor. And he's rushing from the blind side. And he hits Theismann hard, brings him down. And then the next thing you see is Taylor leap up to his feet. And he is looking at Washington's bench, and he's waving the medical staff onto the field. You see, it's not necessarily those types of moments that Washington fan is wanting. It's simply put, it's when you think about those moments, you remember what you were doing and where you were and how you felt. And so when I hear people say they want the old nickname back, they want the emotions that's tied to it back. And they can say, well, yeah, it is a slur. And yes, it is a slur. But it's the emotion that's tied to the name. And so they want that back. And they want that back as much as they possibly can. And you could be hearing more of, we want this name back as the year goes on. Well, I'm going to take another break. And when we come back, Coffee with McCarthy will bring you in to hour number 2. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Here's an
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. And yes, that bumper that you just saw, I'm going to bring on my guest after I play this because I get the feeling somebody's about to get roasted. So I have to step aside. I bring along the man who is in charge of no credentials required, one Mr. Ryan McCarthy, who is frothing at the mouth of wanting to get at Sean Payton. Sir, how you doing?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm exactly frothing. You can see it's not, I don't have rabies.
Duly noted. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I shall return, but I leave you in good hands because this actually might turn into a no credentials required segment or portion of the show. But I'll leave you in good hands. Mr. McCarthy, it is all yours, sir.
Thank you, Cole. It's time to cook. Sean Payton, have yourself a seat. So a couple days ago, right before training camp, or actually before, during training camp opening, a certain coach by the name of Sean Payton decided to have himself a day in terms of the media, and he was talking to reporters, and these reporters happened to ask him about this message for the new season. So he talks to Mr. Jarrett Bell at USA Today, who I believe is a certain executive producer's employer, and he happens to say this when he's asked about the situation from last year, and he's asked about it. He says a lot of things about particularly my favorite football team, the New York Jets. Now, he had the audacity to compare them to the 2000 Washington Redskins football team, Commanders, whichever you prefer to call them. I know Mr. Snow prefers to call them the Redskins. Mr. Johnson refrains from saying that name. I could care less about what their team is. They're garbage. But he compares this team. He says, and unfortunately, Mr. Johnson has left, so he doesn't have the elements to say. But I will say this. I'll say from the article, quote, "We're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year," and that being in terms of building a team. You watch. Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when Dan Snyder put that dream team together? I was at the Giants. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with them? Dion's there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put the work in. Close quote. Now he goes on to say about the former coaching regime of the Denver Broncos last year, that really, really disastrous season that was put together by one Nathaniel Hackett, who is now the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. He was a pivotal part of bringing in Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb. So the momentum to have this team be built with former Packers staff, to which we have a lot of jokes about the New York Packers, which this team is not definitely the New York Packers. Let's just put it that way. He going forward, talking about Nathaniel Hackett, and this is what he says, and he's basically defending Russell Wilson, who he believes is not washed. A lot of people say otherwise, but that's another story for another day. But this is what he goes on to say. And again, I don't have the element, but I'll just go with it. Quote, "Oh man, there's so much dirt kicking around that. There's so much dirt around that. There's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in that frickin' training rooms, the meeting rooms, the offense. I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. The BS that he hit a wall, shoot, they couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. Close quote. If I remember correctly, if I can correctly recall, I remember an article on The Athletic that took the reader through the entire tumultuous season that was the 2022 Denver Broncos. If I remember correctly from that article, a lot of things pointed back, not towards Hackett. I mean, Hackett did have his idiosyncrasies, let's just say. The frozen deer in a headlights look sometimes, especially during the first game of the season in Seattle when they took on the Broncos, when the Broncos took on the Seahawks, and he had a frozen moment, especially when calling timeout. Again, a lot of those things have to do with Hackett, but a lot of it has to do with Wilson too. From what I remember from the article, and I'll have to double check my sources just because we do research on this show. Unlike a lot of other sports shows, we do a lot of research on my show, on this show. I'm just going to put it this way. Wilson was calling a lot of old plays from Seattle. He still had those plays in his head. And on top of that, rather than calling the play, he would try to pump his team up, giving inspirational speeches in the huddle, which those two factors together lead to a lot of pre-snap penalties, delay a game, false start, illegal motion, those types of penalties. So we come to the next day, and the same and a different writer, Safid Dean from USA Today, the headline says Sean Payton regrets ripping ex-Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett. Quote, "It was a mistake," unquote. And this is what he goes on to say in this article. And again, I wish I had the element. Unfortunately, I don't. That's okay. He goes on to say, quote, "Listen, I had one of those moments where I still had my Fox hat on and not my coaching hat on. It was a learning experience for me. It was a mistake, obviously. I need a little more filter. I said what I said, and obviously I need a little more restraint, and I regret that." Close quote. Now, we come to Sunday, and Sunday comes around. Peter Schwartz, NFL Network, he's going to New York Jets training camp, and he happens to interview one Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who is a big defender of Nathaniel Hackett. Now, if I correctly recall in my memory, at first, when Nathaniel Hackett was named the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, they didn't exactly get along. It was a sandpaper moment in time. And eventually, Hackett gained the trust of Aaron Rodgers. In fact, so much so that in the 2 seasons that Hackett was offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers won MVP of the league. Back to back. Almost led to a Super Bowl in 2020. Of course, we happen to know, we remember what happened there with that game, in that Matt LaFleur, or Mike LaFleur, excuse me, not Matt, different story. Mike LaFleur had a brain fart towards the end of a game while the Packers were driving for what could have been the potential game tying score. Instead of going for it on 4th and goal, kick a field goal. Tom Brady goes down the field with the Bucs, wastes time, game over. Buccaneers go to the Super Bowl. So Aaron Rodgers is. Let me get back to the present. So Aaron Rodgers, again, he's asked by Peter Schwartz, and we heard the comments this earlier in the whip around. No, but they're worth repeating, and I'll say it. Quote: It made me feel bad that someone who has accomplished a lot in this league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some easy fall if it doesn't go well for that team this year. I think it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth. Close quote. And of course, Payton went on to, in that first interview, he went on to say that the media was infatuated with the quote pomp and circumstance unquote of the Jets offseason. And again, he's hitting at a dream team. Now, going back in my memory banks, going back in time, let's go back to 2005. 2005, Sean Payton, he's an assistant with I believe at that time he was with the Cowboys. He was an offensive coordinator with the Cowboys because Bill Parcells was his mentor. He goes on to be hired as coach of the New Orleans Saints. Jim Haslett, he's let go. He goes on to become coach of he goes on to become the defensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams, who at that time were in the same division as the New Orleans Saints, if memory serves correctly. They're in the NFC West, the old NFC West, when the Saints and the Rams were in that same division. Did Sean Payton disparage Jim Haslett back in 2006? Did he call the Rams? Did he say it was a lot of pomp and circumstance surrounding the St. Louis Rams? Was he saying there was a lot of dirty hands for the 2005 New Orleans Saints? No, he didn't. This was his first coaching job, and he wound up being probably the best. I would say that he was the greatest head coach in New Orleans Saints history. He spent 15 seasons minus that 2012 season where he didn't coach because of serving a suspension for Bountygate. He and Greg Williams had a lot to do with that. But he won as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. He won 152 regular season games. Also delivered them their first Super Bowl championship in 2009. Wound up beating the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Dr. K, I had to mention it. And Snowman had to mention it. But it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional what Sean Payton did in that interview. And yes, he went on to admit, was very contrite and said that, yeah, I had my Fox Sports analyst hat on and not my head coaching hat on. Still, you didn't need to say those comments. You didn't need to say that Hackett had a lot to do with Russell Wilson's lack of success in Denver. Part of that had to do with the fact that the Broncos management, namely John Elway, paid Russell Wilson $245 million for a 5-year contract for a 34-year-old quarterback who has won one Super Bowl. Now, granted, Wilson has had a lot of success in Seattle, and for whatever reason, wanting to move to a different climate or different circumstance, he moved on to Denver, signed that big contract, and in year one, it all just imploded. Whether a lot of it had to do with Wilson's performance for himself, to do with Hackett's performance, and granted, there's a lot of injuries. Oh, hey, Snowman.
What a morning. And I got an important call to take. Good morning, everyone.
We're roasting not Nathaniel Hackett. We're roasting Sean Payton.
Continue.
Yeah. So, yes, I appreciate Aaron Rodgers coming to Nathaniel Hackett's defense. And again, this was uncalled for. This was totally uncalled for, because you don't see a lot of coaches in the NFL disparaging other coaches for the performance they did before they arrived. It smacks of arrogance. It smacks of lack of consideration. It's a total lack of respect for the previous administration. So Sean Payton, just mind your own business, focus on your own team, and we'll see you in week 5. Get off the seat. I got better things to do.
How many times can I say thank y'all? Because I ran into a couple problems this morning and I didn't realize what time it was until I looked at my phone, and you know the rest. Nice headphones there. Are those the new ones you got?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to them. They're the new Raycon. I get the noise canceling. The noise canceling edition. I get the noise canceling option run right now. It's nice. I stay focused. It's awesome.
Good. Good morning to everyone, Victor Locke, Sig Diggy, and everyone, and thank you to Ryan. Thank you to Ryan McCarthy. And I don't know what happened. My alarm went off. I was ready to go, and then the next thing I know, it was 10:40.
That's life. It happens.
That's life. Thank you, Cole, for
and Playmaker. What do you mean it was not a roasting session? Come on. I could have gone harsher, but I didn't. All right.
See, there are roasts, and then there are roasts, and then there's what we do every Wednesday. But when Ryan McCarthy brings the heat, he brings the heat, folks.
That wasn't so much it was a medium roast. It was more of a light medium. It's more of a light roast.
It wasn't
like coffee this morning.
Right. What's the brew?
I just got some iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts.
You went Dunkin' Donuts today?
Yeah, it's down the hill from where I live, so I just figured I ran out of coffee, so I needed to get. I figure I'll go there for my morning fix.
Well, I understand that. I haven't even had a chance to get mine yet, and I want some iced coffee for this afternoon. So what's going on, my Jets insider? What's going on with your New York Jets?
So they're it's Thursday's their first preseason game. They're playing in the Hall of Fame game against Cleveland. Zach Wilson will be starting. Mekhi Beck, because he's the backup.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers probably won't play it down in the preseason, which is fine.
He did.
It's fine.
He won't.
So we'll get heavy doses of Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, and Chris Streveler. Mekhi Becton will be in the lineup for the first time since September 12th, 2021.
Okay. Which means on my side, probably Trey Lance or Sam Darnold's going to get the majority of the snaps in preseason because they don't want anything to happen to Brock. And he is back. He is in camp, full participant. Oh Lordy. And I'm trying to catch up with everything. To the Godfather, good morning to you. And good morning to Sick Diggy, and of course to Vicala. My sensei, Drew, he says, good morning. I'm actually awake. I'm trying to be awake, and it ain't working. Latina and Cali out of Fresno. So we're in Fresno this morning. Good morning to you. The Playmaker is here with us. Ryan McCarthy, able-bodied as always. Cole Johnson, able-bodied as always. Man, so Zach Wilson's going to start in preseason. And who's the backup?
His backup will either be Tim Boyle or Chris Streveler.
Okay.
So we'll probably see the Jets fall behind.
Why is that name so familiar?
Because he's with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I keep hearing the name, and somehow the Canadian Football League kept popping in my head.
Yep. After he won the Grey Cup with Winnipeg, went to Arizona, then went to Miami. He's been with the Jets for a couple of seasons. Which means he gets that NFL pension.
Right.
And when his NFL career is over, you go back to Canada.
he gets that pension.
Yep.
What's with McLeod Bethel Thompson? Because I was hearing rumors he would reappear in the CFL. True or false?
I haven't heard any rumblings about where he'll wind up. I know that he was released from his contract with New Orleans in the U.S. After breaking a lot of passing records, I guess, in the USL for a single season.
I don't think he was happy at the end of the season, was he? It didn't feel like it.
I mean, they had a chance to go to the playoffs. They missed out in the playoffs. So, yeah, I wouldn't be happy either. If he were to go to a CFL team, would he be back with Toronto?
Well, Toronto's already got that position sealed with Chad Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would have to think Edmonton would be a key landing spot, but Chris Jones can't seem to make up his mind as to who his quarterback is going to be.
And he keeps going with Taylor Cornelius, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And where the hell is Geno Lewis? He signed as a free agent with the Edmonton Eskimos, and yet nothing.
He's on a milk carton. And I would like to. I think I need to start putting it out Amber Alerts like Sick Diggy does with Ben Simmons, because Geno Lewis is on a milk carton right now, and with Edmonton making all those with Edmonton making all those moves in the off season to try to build up a team, you'd think that he would get the ball more.
And the only time I saw Geno Lewis, he caught a 100-yard touchdown pass, and I think that was week 1. After that, haven't seen him.
I want to say he's on IR, but I will double check right now. I'll do real-time research.
Real-time research. I love it.
Yeah.
Real-time research brought to you by Recruiting Giants. There you go.
All
Mark,
right.
that's for you.
So he wasn't on the injury report the last couple of weeks. So he's just missing. They're not getting the ball to him, and
they're not using him.
Just not use him at all, which is unfortunate.
I'd be madder than all get out if I was Geno Lewis. All those years he spent in Montreal.
He wasn't in the lineup on Saturday for Saturday's game.
No, he wasn't. He was not. Rising Rhino in the house with us, coming to us from Colorado.
Hey.
Latina says that's weird. YouTube not giving notifications. You know what? That's the part about YouTube I hate. When you start to grow, they shadow ban you. When you don't talk about what they want you to talk about, they shadow ban you. I don't get it. And that's against everyone that produces honest content. Oh, did I go there?
Yeah, you did.
Did I go there? You, me, Rising Rhino, Sensei Drew, everyone that makes honest content.
Here we go. So Geno Lewis has been on the injured list. He suffered a knee injury against Ottawa last month, but he's looks like he's on the 6-game IL.
That explains.
So that's why that explains everything. Hopefully, when he comes back, Edmonton will be much improved. But right now,
they need McLeod Bethel Thompson.
It is but again,
would he fix all the problems in Edmonton? That's the question.
No, he won't. He won't,
because that defense is a sieve now.
That defense is a sieve, and Chris Jones is supposed to be this mastermind genius when it comes to defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, and I know Rod Peterson. I know Rod Peterson. I know it's your guy. I know it's your guy. But the Elks are just a disaster area. I'm sorry for the fans in Edmonton
and
who follow this team.
They have a promotion going on. They have a weird promotion going on that With every home game, they give away free tickets until they win.
You're going to lose a lot of money.
Oh, they're losing a lot of money. They're losing a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Rising Rhino, I had a couple of streams that mysteriously start losing likes one by one. I had 34, then it goes down to 12, all in front of our eyes. I've seen that happen. Oh, wait, I got a notification, but it's not showing the red live around your avatar picture. Made it seem like a simple upload. I recommend you don't upload more than one video close in time or proximity. I'm not. Oh my heavens. Folks, I got to step away because I have a very important call to take. Let me take a break.
I can get back to work.
I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to... Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Let me take a break. Let me figure this out. And thank you, Ryan.
Tonight, 8 p.m. We're reviewing. Tonight, 8 p.m. We're live again. We're reviewing another movie for the summer. We're reviewing Chariots of Fire. So
Chariots of Fire. Okay.
All right.
Very, very good. Thank you, McCarthy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Victor, I need a tremendous favor. I need you to get up here because I have a very important call to take, and I need a pinch hitter, and it didn't occur to me until now that I need someone to cover me. So let me take a 4-minute break, and I will be back, and I'll figure this out when y'all get back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCarthy now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2,
the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2, was El Jefe.
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now.
And we're back. And I'm back. Welcome back to the second hour of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I should be joined by the Snowman in a minute. Before, though, I continue, I am going to be joined by a fellow that I know and love dearly. And now batting, the man who is praying that Aaron Judge can revive the Yankees' fortunes, number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420. And it is wonderful to see you, but unfortunately, it is not wonderful to hear you. As we are joined by Wise El Jefe of Papa J and Wise El Jefe of Mentality.
Can you hear me now?
Can you
hear me now?
And yes, Puerto Rican Verizon man, I can hear you now.
Yes. So what I said was, yeah, even with Aaron Judge, we need way more. So I'm over it.
Well, the trading deadline's tomorrow, so the Yankees might have a trick up there.
Start selling.
Not selling.
Go the Mets route and just start selling them.
Why would you want them to be sellers this year?
Why not? They ain't going nowhere. They are not going any. I think they're in last place in the division. Yeah, no. And we're above 500. That's what's the shame is.
Yeah,
it's like we're bad, but we're not that. But we're not Mets bad.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. The Mets, they don't stand a chance. But the Yankees,
they need to sell everybody.
Yeah,
they had Max Scherzer go in, complain about them trading Robertson, and then they go trade his butt.
Well, I mean, I don't know why Scherzer should complain. I mean, he now is a member of a team that's in a pennant race.
Yeah, you should be happy.
I would think Scherzer should be happy.
I think that's going to be everybody's new formula where they're going to want to talk to ownership after they do a trade and get traded away to a better team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I don't know why. And we might as well talk about it now. So yes, one of the big news stories of the weekend was Max Scherzer, who was a Met, formerly, of course, of the Washington Nationals. He got traded from the Queens area to now the Metroplex. Now he is a Rangers starting pitcher. Now the deal, which the Mets covering all but $22.5 million owed to him, it became official when Scherzer waived his no trade clause and agreed to exercise his $43.3 million player option next year. Now, of course, the Rangers get him for prize prospect Luis Angel Acuna, and This also has opened trade talks with the Astros, sending Justin Verlander back to Houston. But before I continue, sir, I just have this to say. Bishop, should the Astros trade for Justin Verlander to be back after he basically spurned the team, winning his second ring with the team?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Hey, listen, man. People can repent. People can repent. You being the guy in the jar, you know this.
Sometimes I dislike you. It's not too many times I do. But you have a wonderful point, though, man. You have a great point. To me, I just felt as though Verlander wanted to get his last bag, and I'm thinking, come on, dude, you are basically in the December of your career when it comes to baseball. You might as well just take whatever the chips you're gonna get and retire and ride off into the sunset.
So you can't really get mad at him because he took Steve Cohen money. Because a lot of people took Steve Cohen money, and it didn't work out. It's how can I put this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they suck. Like they really suck. They really thought that it would. Because all right.
Mm-hmm.
They trying to do what Steinbrenner did in the 80s, where he was just throwing bags at everybody.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And the Yankees were straight trash. They were straight trash. Even though they won the most games in the 80s, it was still trash. They didn't win any titles. So when they decided to put a mixture of those veterans with the core four, as we call them, core five, because I include Bernie,
and build to the farm system too.
Yeah. But no, the Mets just want to trade and buy everything, man. Like that formula doesn't work all the time.
So let me see if I can get this right. You basically said that Steve Cohen, in the way he attacked the offseason that the Mets had after winning 101 games last year, was
trays,
You know something, Wise? I have to give you mad credit. I'm glad that you actually saw as well what I actually saw with Steinbrenner in the 80s. Because I was thinking, this guy is just writing checks.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I suffered in the 80s being a Yankees fan.
Checks.
Listen, I suffered. Like Mets were celebrating in the 80s. So they got the World Series in 86. They were pretty good in late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And then the wheels fell off.
Right.
And Doc and everybody left. And so, yeah. So
came back and won a World Series with the Yankees in the mid-90s, no less.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But yeah, I'm like, why, Cohen? Why are you just throwing money away?
Well, he got money. He has money to throw away, obviously. So he was throwing it. He threw it instead of throwing it at players like Marcus Stroman, Chris Bassett, prior to his injury, Jacob deGrom. You go and you throw it at 90-year-old Verlander.
Thank you.
And it's to win. When your start two pitchers are old as dirt, like they probably were around when Jesus was like playing. Like that's how old these two pitchers are.
Thank you. Exactly. That's why with my not so forgiving or repentant heart for this situation. that I feel is the Astros wasting their time to get a Justin Verlander for a rental. But I will work on it. You know, God know my heart.
Yeah, no. He's repentant. Believe me, he's like, damn, I shouldn't have taken that money. Should have stood my butt in Houston, where it was nice, where I knew I had a shot at winning. Maybe wouldn't have got the kind of money they gave me, but hey, I earned a lot of money in my career.
Yeah.
Now it's just I should just be focusing on winning, and so that's what happens.
Yeah. And I get he was a little butthurt because he learned that he no longer is the ace of the staff. Now that's Framber Valdez. I get that. I understand that. I understand it in his heart. He still feels as though he is an ace pitcher.
And I can't knock that. Like, listen, I don't knock anybody's confidence. I don't knock anybody. He felt he was the number one.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad feeling, but hey, like, just like, I listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that big brother that's look at his little brother and tells him something, and that little mofo go still do what you the complete opposite of what you told him to go do.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't feel sorry for the Mets whatsoever, because they were battling for the headlines in the background and
oh gosh, January, February, March, they most certainly were.
Yeah, and nothing. No Carlos Correa, Verlander was a bust. I don't even know if Buck is gonna have a job at the end of this year.
Yeah, okay, well, fine. I guess I might as well ask this question since the Mets had to be sellers in this year's trade deadline. How do you see the offseason this coming year shake out for the Mets?
Oh, I don't see them spending like that. And again, I think he kind of learned his lesson. Like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be throwing money like that at people and start really building a team. And they got some pretty good players in this farm system. So,
because that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, you won over 100 games last year. I mean, so you have good pieces. Why don't you build around them? And I mean, that's what I was thinking, but no, he wanted to strike while iron's hot. Thought, okay, I'll throw money at this situation, get this big time free agent ticket, this big time free agent ticket. We can have a ticker tape parade in Manhattan.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. However, but at least he learned his lesson. At least it didn't take him to the end of the year to realize this. He understood this in July. So I'm happy that he really did.
But did he really learn his lesson? We'll find out. We'll find out at the end of the season and the off season starts, and we'll see what free agents they sign, and then we'll see if he really learned his lesson.
All right, well, duly noted. Okay, we'll see if he has fully learned his lesson in the off season and if he still is throwing money at issues and problems. But the Rangers should be happy. They had to see Jacob deGrom go out for not just the rest of this year, but possibly for all of next year. And now they have an ace that they can rely on since they haven't had one in 3 months in Max Scherzer. That race in the American League West is going to get mighty interesting as there's only one game separating the Rangers from the Astros. And don't look now, but the Angels are climbing their way back into the race too.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be sellers for sure, but they decided to keep Ohtani. I think they feel they got a chance of re-signing him, which if I was them, I would want to re-sign him because he is the best player in baseball. He is the most exciting player in baseball. So why would you want to give that up for prospects that you don't know if they're going to pan out? Good. You got him at the prime of his career, like sign him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. And I guess we'll leave it there. Well, good luck to you Mets as you try to pick your face up off the ground and try to salvage something of a horrible lost season. As for the Rangers, it looks like you all are saying we want to win our division and possibly win the American League. But you got to hold off the defending champs, and it looks like you have understood it is a mighty hard task to do. When we come back, speaking about hard tasks, Errol Spence, you had a real hard task Saturday night. Poor fella. You were game, but whoo. This is Snowman, the morning with Cole Johnson. We're joined by Wise El Jefe. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
'Cause we take this job so serious.
Man, I went home that day and talked to my wife, Vicky. And Vicky was like, "What's wrong with you? You pissed off?" "Yeah, I got this partner I'm working with back in the radio station." The Negro be lying. What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes, it's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. .22 after the hour, after the second hour of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. I'll be joined by Wise El Jefe. Okay.
I was kicked out. Yeah. Something happened over here on my end where I got booted out.
Oh, okay. I was like, I know I didn't do that. But anyway, joined by my mentality partner, as VLock83 says. Yes, mentality time. And yes, it is. And no matter when or what, we always have a good time being on the mic together and being on screen together. As we go into the Fanatic Feedback Zone, Ryan McCarthy, wonderful job, sir, on the Coffee with McCarthy segment. He says, Buck's going to be yeeted into the sun after the season ends. Poor Buck Showalter. Sig Dickey says, look, Cole, some people can only learn the hard way and others don't learn at all. You have a good point. Oh, he also says, I didn't know Wise was born again. Oh my! Playmaker.
I was actually rebaptized a few years ago. So yes.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Playmaker, what's up, man? He will not join us tomorrow. I would love for him to, but we will not get a dose of the Playmaker as we normally do every week. He says Wise wants the quick ending, not the prolonged one. Talking about the Yankees. Yeah,
I've moved on. It's football season already for me.
See, that's why I introduced you the way I did Friday, because I figured you were thinking Giants and not thinking Yankees.
Yeah, I'm over it. Like, this season is a wash for me. So I'm not gonna waste my energy, or rather my Giants, till they start focus on the Knicks.
I'm about to say, until they don't do what you want, and then it'll be like November, and then you're all about the Knicks. Oh my gosh.
Just about. That's how it's been the last 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that. Yeah.
The last time a man has felt joy in the sports realm, 2009. Yeah. Wow. Oh man. Okay. Well, hopefully.
Oh no! Wait, no. Yeah, was it 2009? Yeah, that's when they both won last. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because no, I take it back. No,
2011.
2012. Yeah, February 2012. That's the last time you felt joy. There you go.
Yeah, joy. Yeah. Then the kind of joy.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
It's still.
Yeah.
It was better than what they usually do.
True. Yeah, the last time you felt joy about the Yankees was 2009. But yes, the last time you felt joy, period, of any sports team love that you show was February 2012.
Yes,
the 2011 season.
Yes,
with the Giants.
I'm sure Patriot fans remember that day.
Oh my gosh. And for those who wonder why I'm laughing hard about that, here's why. The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
I've been good. I
know.
I've turned a new leaf. I no longer curse at Boston. I leave them be. But yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good, man. I'm behaving. I said I was gonna be nice to Boston, and I have. I haven't attacked anyone.
You haven't yet.
Not yet. No, not yet. No. I'm waiting for somebody to Boston to mess up, though. Waiting, because then I know. Then it's like, see, I tried to be good, and keep pulling me back in, and so.
Oh my gosh! Oh Lord. You and your eternal hatred for Boston is hilarious. Well, for those who are unaware, yes, there was a prize fight that happened Saturday night between undefeated Terence Crawford and then undefeated Errol Spence in a welterweight clash in Las Vegas. Well, that turned into a one-person boxing exhibition. Because Bud, as Terence Crawford is known, put Spence to the turf. Put Spence to the canvas three times. He ended the fight in a 9th round TKO after a beautiful combination, which ended it. Oh, gosh. And in the process, Crawford has now become the first undisputed welterweight champion in the 4-belt era, and he is the first to win all 4 belts in a second division. But the flawless execution that he put forth, and he did it fighting opposite his normal, natural style. I'm thinking, oh, wow. So for those who are unaware, Errol Spence is a natural southpaw or a natural left-hander. And normally for a guy who stands in an orthodox position, it normally is really difficult to counter somebody who is a southpaw if you're standing orthodox or right-handed. Because normally if you were to throw your power punch, his power punch could come right behind you.
Yeah.
That is normally how things roll. So in understanding that, Mr. Crawford decided to box southpaw against the southpaw. And sometimes when you do that, it has devastating effects badly. But done well, it can reap you beautiful rewards, such as having a jab, which is with his strong hand, be like a jackhammer.
Mm-hmm.
And in many instances, what I saw in that fight, having Crawford subtly switch to the orthodox and hit Spence in a counter with right hooks. And he did that all fight long. It was when I watched it back. Yes, when I watched it back, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a straight up physical dissection of another boxer."
And I listen, I saw his interview on the Pivot, and I was like, "Yo, he's gonna go in there, he's gonna handle his business, and it's gonna be no doubt about who is the undisputed champion." And he went in and he did what he did, man.
Yeah,
it was sweet time.
Yeah,
like what makes. I used to love boxing when they had the Hagler Hearns fight and the Hearns Hagler fight and the Leonard Hearns and this is when you had all the super fights. Mega.
Yeah,
we haven't really had anything like that. We usually get them later on when at least one of them is past his prime or whatever.
Right.
Like we got both of them in their prime. And this is what boxing is supposed to be like. These super fights like this are supposed to be happening on the regular, and they just haven't happened in the last 15 to 20 years. Like they have not really been any. Like even when Mayweather Pacquiao,
both are past their prime. Yeah,
it wasn't like it was different.
Yeah, both are past their prime, and that fight should have happened about at least 5 years before, if not 6 or 7
before that.
Yeah, but it should not have happened in 2015. Man, but it was just a beautiful display, and yeah, Crawford reminded me, and you mentioned him, Hagler, reminded me of Marvin Hagler because he normally fought southpaw, but he could switch, and he subtly switched, and Crawford did that. And man, Spence stood no chance in that. Ooh, gosh, he could not.
Was it
he
that
had no answer for
bad?
any.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, Errol Spence stood no chance in defending whatever power punch Crawford threw him, because every time Spence threw, Crawford countered, and he countered very fast.
Yeah, he did,
and it was brutal. It was
well,
brutal. Well, before
I have a piece of breaking news for you guys.
Okay,
go.
But before we do that, I would like to introduce to you to the guy who is the founder of Snowman Multimedia, one half of Snowman in the Morning. He is the play-by-play extraordinaire known as Brian Snow, but you can call him Snowman.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. I am doing good, and
now your breaking
piece of breaking news. I am thrilled to announce that the HBCU Chicago Classic will be aired live, audio-wise, on Snowman Multimedia Sportsnet on September 2nd, and we'll be live from Soldier Field. Just finished the call. We got the green light, and I'm so excited, and it could lead to a Southwest Athletic Conference game of the week. They're very interested. They want to run what they want to run with this. They said Chicago will be a test run, and they believe that a mega deal will get done. So we'll be live in Chicago the week of Labor Day, and September 2nd, we'll be live from Soldier Field, providing play-by-play for the silver anniversary of the Chicago HBCU Classic. There's your breaking news for this morning.
And it's to also say congratulations to Snowman on that news. Is on the Invader Coffee line, Jay Spivey, as we enter Spivey Notes. Good morning, sir, and how are you doing?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good,
great,
and
man.
Brian is ecstatic.
I hear that. Congratulations.
I'm over the moon excited for this.
Now, do you have the power? Since you apparently have some power now, do you have the power to send me back to the beach? Because I've been back for 3 days and I missed it.
Oh, you missed the beach already, huh?
Oh my goodness, I missed it as soon as I left the hotel.
I wish I had that power, man. I wish I had that power. Real quick, let me say happy birthday to my baby boy Dakota. He is 25 today.
Oh my word!
Happy birthday, brother.
Yep, he is. He
Happy
is
birthday, Dakota.
25.
I'm 25 too.
Yeah,
man. Some days I wish I was 25 again.
Me
25.
too.
I think my back is wanting to say you need to be back at 25.
Boy, if anybody gets that, it would be me. I get it. After what's happened the last 2 years, I get it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. All right. So tell me about the wonderful news that came across of Bryce Young officially being the starting quarterback for your Carolina Panthers.
Listen, I know we're in this day and age of, for some unknown reason, having to name a quarterback as soon as possible. But couldn't this wait a minute? They just stepped on the field last week.
Yes.
Have not even had a practice.
At least.
And have not had a preseason game.
That's what I'm saying.
None.
At least see him
None.
do it in a preseason game. At least.
And to be honest with you guys, you know how things are going preseason games. I'll be shocked if he even plays a preseason game.
I'll be shocked too.
I'll be shocked if he does a snap. I'll be shocked if he gets a snap too.
He won't.
Yes.
He'll be the game. They'll be the week 1 starter, and he won't take a snap in preseason.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that.
Nor would I. I wouldn't be surprised at that either.
I mean, listen, I think preseason games are important. There are a lot of people who think otherwise, but the way they're treating these games, I mean, I know there's only 3 now, 4 if you play in the Hall of Fame game, but I mean, they're treating these games like they mean absolutely nothing because none of the regular players play in them anymore.
No, and it's funny you mentioned that. When I saw that Joe Burrow last week was getting carted off the field.
Yep.
And thankfully it's a strained calf. The next words I said was, if he sees one snap in preseason, I'd be shocked.
No way.
Because the next time he'll be under center in the field, it'll be the first Sunday in
It'll be week 1.
It'll be second Sunday in September. He's not going to. No.
He's not even going to practice till he gets his contract signed.
Nope. And the same goes with Nick Bosa, but they're working out a mega deal for Nick Bosa. They're not letting him go anywhere, even though they signed Javon Hargrave to boost that defense.
Well, nor should they. Bosa's great.
The heart and soul is Nick Bosa, and everybody's throwing rumors around. Oh, Nick Bosa is going to go elsewhere. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Unfortunately, I know we all love them. I live by it every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the seasons have gone the last however many years it's been now, the first 4, 5, 6 weeks is basically preseason now.
Yeah, it is.
And it takes until mid-October to really get the season going because the tackling's terrible.
Yep.
They're totally out of shape. You see they're just gasping for air.
Even though they're saying they're in shape, they're not.
No, they're not. They're not in football shape.
No.
Yeah.
And it takes them 6 to 7 weeks to really get in football shape, and by that time, you only got 10 games remaining.
Right.
Yeah. Timer routes are not all in there. All there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the quote unquote experts will judge a team on what they do the first 6, 7 weeks of the season anyway.
No. Yeah.
So we don't have to say anything. The 4 of us do not have to say anything about what the quote unquote experts think because it's going to be wilder than all get out.
Look,
well, because
the first 6 weeks of the year, y'all. Listen, I'm talking to gentlemen and to people who have followed the NFL. If not as long as I have, they're getting there. And I followed the NFL for 4 decades, almost 4.5 decades. You can't tell me, with the way this has become a quarterback league, that the pundits will judge a team's in-season success on what they do the first 6 weeks of the season, even though there's 11 games left.
I'll put it to you like this. If the first 6, 7 weeks of the season really mattered, then the Lions must have really sucked.
Exactly.
Because they went 8 out of the last 2. Playmaker, that's for you. You know why I'm saying it. Of course, it's 8 out of the last 10. But yes, I mean, the Lions reeled off 8 out of the last 10. They ended up being the darlings of the league, even after Hard Knocks. And now that basically earned them a primetime slot the first game of the season.
And going to get slapped, too. Going to get slapped that night, too.
Yeah.
They're going to get a major dose of reality that night.
People judge the same about the 49ers when they went 3-4 after Kansas City beat us down in Santa Clara. No one expected Frisco to win their last 10 games and get all the way to the NFC Championship. Even though we hosted the wild card, even though we hosted the divisional round, there were still some pundits that picked against San Francisco.
In 7 of those 10 games, he was led and started by a rookie quarterback named Mr. Irrelevant.
Yep.
Yeah. And that brings me to this. I saw last night on SportsCenter that oddsmakers say that the Super Bowl favorites are the same teams that were in this past year's, Eagles and Chiefs. Now, I have no problem with the Chiefs. I think they probably are the favorite in the AFC.
Yeah, they are.
But the Eagles lost a lot of players and coaches through free agency and coaching changes.
Mm-hmm. They did.
No way are they the favorite, in my opinion. In the NFC. No way.
It's
and
hard
do we honestly think that Jalen Hurts is really this great quarterback?
Great quarterback, no. But a
Don't you
quarterback
think
that's
a
on
lot
the
of
come up,
coaches have
yes.
schemed all summer?
Well, yeah. As I was saying, he's on the come up. And now I think he's going to have to deal with a lot of defenses that are going to try to counter a lot of what he normally is comfortable doing.
Because he's still comfortable running the ball and still throwing the ball.
And so then we'll get a chance to see if he's going to evolve further. Now, in terms
that's the thing about Jalen Hurts I want to see, if he's going to evolve further, because he took his team to the Super Bowl. They lost, but he took his team to the Super Bowl. Now, can Jalen Hurts take that next step? Can he repeat or add on to what he did last year?
Now the problem with I don't really see another team. I can actually see the Eagles still repeating as NFC champs. Is I just don't see another team that could usurp them yet. Maybe the Niners, maybe the Cowboys.
No.
Don't get on that hype like everybody else is doing.
The only team that can compete.
Maybe the Lions,
with all the dots.
Understanding why I'm saying the way I'm saying it. Maybe the Giants. I mean, it's maybe with every other team that you're going to throw at as a contender to unseat the Eagles.
And it's nobody in the South. Absolutely nobody.
Oh, forget the South. That division is a dumpster fire.
It's horrible.
Who are the feature quarterbacks in the NFC South?
We've got a lot of rookies. There'll be a lot of rookies.
Derek Carr is your marquee quarterback
by far. It's not even close.
And former number 1 pick, Baker Mayfield.
Baker will be in Tampa this year.
I said marquee. I didn't say run of the mill.
Baker Mayfield was run of the mill when he got to the NFL.
But yes, but to your point though, Wise, the starting quarterbacks of the rest of the division feature Baker Mayfield, Desmond Ridder, and now number 1 overall pick in 2023, Bryce Young.
Okay, who the hell are these guys?
You know who Desmond Ridder is.
I know who Desmond Ridder is, so I can take him out of the equation. I know who Derek Carr is. I meant that jokingly.
I know.
But in terms of marquee division matchups,
there are none.
There are none.
None.
There are none. My question is
Derek Carr.
And Derek Carr is going to get absolutely pulverized. Because, and I've said this about every team that thinks they can compete but won't, and I said it Friday in my previews, 3 simple words. No offensive line. None.
And that means they need Alvin Kamara to step up. And that's really hard to do when you have no offensive line.
None, man. There is no offensive line with any of these teams. None of them. I mean, who the hell is who the hell is Tampa Bay going to protect? Who the hell is Tampa Bay line going to protect? Certainly not Baker Mayfield.
Baker's great. Y'all know that.
Says who?
I'm just kidding.
Who told? I know you're kidding, Jay. I gotta say it though. Who told this lie?
Oh Lord.
There are a lot of people who probably think he is good.
They say the same about Dak Prescott, but that's a whole nother program in and of itself.
Listen, because of the Cowboys hype on every channel, everywhere, every time.
Yep.
All we ever hear is Dak and Jerry Jones and this and that. What have they won? Absolutely nothing.
And who actually believes that they're going to all right, who actually believes they're going to be in the NFC Championship game for the first time in 28 years?
Not me.
Not me. Ain't no way. Okay. I've been asked by the moronic Republic of Cowboy Nation. Thank you.
Republic of Cowboy Nation. Thank you, Victor. That's a great, great
you realize, Cole, you realize you're going to have to visualize that somehow, especially with football season coming around. You have to visualize that now. Just like you did for a certain segment we do on Wednesdays. I'm not allowed to cuss, but you have to visualize that now.
The Republic of Cowboys Nation. I love that. Thank you, Victor.
Listen, Jody going out the door said, listen, no cussing today, especially when you know who.
No.
And I said, yes, ma'am.
Oh, my gosh.
But I've been asked by a lot of members of the moronic Republic of Cowboy Nation why I do not believe in the Cowboys. I said
all you have to do is say history. History shows it.
I said
what's to believe
but what I said was I have 3 simple questions, but the most important question of all, who's going to carry the ball?
Are they going to get Zach Martin signed?
No.
That to me, that right there, Jay, that to me is the most pressing issue for the Cowboys.
He's one of the best offensive linemen ever, and they're not going to sign him?
Forget Tony Pollard. Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Forget Tony Pollard. Who's going to block for him? And the best lineman they've had since, dare say, the line that blocked in front of Emmitt Smith 3 decades ago.
Larry Allen,
and
Eric Williams.
Y'all heard this from me a million times because of the dearth of quarterback play in the NFL. I'm not saying he's one of the worst quarterbacks because he's not. But Dak Prescott is not just one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league now. He's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL because he plays for the Cowboys.
He's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league ever.
Well, you know, Dak has promised something, Jay. He promised this.
Oh, dear.
And the proclamation and promise that he delivered was, quote, I am going to throw less than 10 interceptions this year.
Right.
Close quote.
And now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir.
He might have 10 by the week 10.
He'll have 10 by week 6.
That's what I was thinking.
Wait a minute.
By week 10, he'll have his 10.
Wait a minute. By week 6, he'll have his 10 interceptions. And for that proclamation, and now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled Quarterback Be Lying. Speaking of teams with offensive line issues, which is all of the NFC South, which is the Cowboys, and I've had people from my hometown, and Jay, I'm going to hear you and the rest of the chat and my partner laugh uproariously for this statement.
Oh, gosh, I think I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going, partner.
Mm-hmm.
I've had Bear fans.
Please say this ridiculousness.
I've had Bear fans on Facebook and Cole put this in the slate on Friday, and I absolutely love you for it. I've had Bear fans say to me out loud and on Facebook, quote, the Bears are going to go 12-5 this year and win the NFC North.
Close quote. And with that, Jay, laugh your butt off.
I'm going to go back to overrated again. What has Justin Fields done that makes people think he's going to be the greatest thing in the world? I've heard this a lot about how much they think how good he's going to be. What has he done that's so great?
You know what, Jay? I can answer that. I can answer that question. Nothing.
I can
I
answer
haven't seen it yet. What do you?
I can answer
the Moronic Republic of Bears Nation.
I'll take any example. Show me where the examples are, because I haven't seen it.
Here's why. And I'm doing this. I'm putting this lob to you, Jay, for the statement that I want you to say after I actually put this out there. Many people are seeing Justin Fields and they're saying to themselves, wow, he has an arm and he runs even faster than Lamar Jackson.
To which he's going to get hurt. He's probably gotten hurt a few times already that we don't even know about it. No, he's already been injured a little bit.
He has been injured.
He's going to get hurt. Where's the coaching? Where's that?
Non-existent.
Where's the line?
Non-existent. That line is 300-pound mannequins, 5 of them just stacked in front of him.
Lamar Jackson is a special type quarterback. There's only a few guys who can do that. Justin Fields, despite his athletic ability, you have to be able to throw the ball at some point.
You have to.
And I have not seen it, and yet all these people talking about how wonderful he is. He wasn't great. Listen, he was good. He was the top-ranked quarterback in high school football coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't even see the field at Georgia.
Right.
Then he goes to Ohio State. He was a good college quarterback. I'll give him that.
Good.
But
that's the thing. That's the key word.
Again, because he went to Ohio State, he got the hype machine.
Yep.
That's correct.
Now he's in Chicago, one of the largest cities in the country. He's getting it again. Now you tell me what he's done with the Bears is so wonderful.
Not a doggone thing.
I mean,
that's out.
If
you want
to count the fact he can gain 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback, something, there you go.
How?
Man, I don't want him to get hurt, but he's going to get hurt.
How?
He's going to get hurt.
And he got hurt. He's been hurt since he's been in the NFL.
Yeah, he's been dinged up.
So
I get what you're saying, Jay. He's going to have an injury that's going to sit him out for a year.
So
if
the Bears are going to be 12-5, who the heck's going to be their quarterback if he gets hurt?
If the Bears are going to be 12-5, who the hell's going to run the football?
DJ Moore probably could do both.
And then, thank you, Cole, for lobbing that up for me. And I'm going to.
I lob one for Jay. I'm gonna lob one for you.
do it again. I'm spitting down the floor. I'm gonna do it again.
If Justin Fields is hurt, they can always insert DJ Moore to run and throw.
And then you have the very curious case and trade for DJ Moore.
Oh, but on the other side, he has Chase Claypool.
Oh, don't forget, he was such a great receiver for the Panthers.
On the other side, they have whom?
I mean, Chase Claypool. He did such a great job in Pittsburgh. The Steelers decided, oh, you need to leave.
I will ask the question for Chase Claypool as I asked the question for Mario Chalmers when Cole gave me a lob one Wednesday morning. Who the hell is Chase Claypool?
Why do you think the Steelers got rid of him?
Because he hadn't done a doggone thing. That's why.
Oh gosh, he was supposed to be the future guy in Pittsburgh, and he screwed that up royally.
Matter of fact, I'll borrow the words of the legendary Chris Bass. What in the all types of blue hell were the Bears thinking?
They weren't thinking.
Thank you. They're going to, and I've had the moronic Republic of Bears Nation say to me, push a button, Cole, please.
12-5, though. Okay. Quote:
DJ Moore is going to be our number one receiver.
I've heard that too. I don't get it.
Close quote. I think Kawhi doesn't need it.
You are leaning on DJ Moore to be your number one receiver when you haven't had a number one receiver, dare I say, since Muhsin Muhammad.
And we just already pinpointed the fact that we have a quarterback in Justin Fields who is not necessarily the most accurate.
Look at the history of the Bears. I know you follow the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the history of the Bears. Winning the nearly 100-year, probably more than 100-year history of the Bears.
Yeah, have they had
a quarterback and a receiver that you can count on consistently?
Barely 1985, but they also had Walter Payton and Matt Suey.
And Willie Gaul.
And Dennis
I was going to say, in the more than 1 century of the Bears, the best quarterback that team has ever had was Jim McMahon.
And he got knocked upside the head in 1986.
Thank you, Charles Martin.
By
Power
Charles
driving him into
Martin,
the Soldier Field.
And that effectively ended McMahon's career.
And concussed him. I think he's suffering from it now.
He's still suffering from it.
That effectively ended McMahon's career.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate saying that, but anyone who saw the hit where Jim McMahon got slammed to the turf by Charles Martin about 30 seconds after the play was over.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he hurt his shoulder, he suffered a concussion, and he was done. He didn't play for 2 years.
Yeah. And then he was a shell of himself when he got back and played.
Well, just look at him. If you've seen him in videos now or interviews now, just look at him. It's sad. It's sad.
It's horrible.
He was at BYU. He was an athlete, and then with the Bears early on, he was an athlete, and then that injury bug kept hitting him.
But yeah,
they were injury. Listen, they were injury prone. But Jim McMahon, I beg your pardon, was injury prone beginning in 1984 because he check that. He did not start the NFC Championship in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Steve Fuller did.
I was about to say he didn't
Steve
start
Fuller
the
did
game
because McMahon was hurt.
Mm-hmm. But that should answer your question, Jay. The best quarterback that team has had in the 1 century he existed is Jim McMahon.
Well, that was more of a rhetorical question. I mean, I knew Jim McMahon. McMahon is the best quarterback they've had.
Yeah, in the 100-year history of the Bears.
So you look at it's George Halas. Obviously, his daughter has run it for years, and her now son Virginia. But the general managers they've had, they can't find one quarterback.
Apparently, they don't need one.
Well, but the thing is, they think that Justin Fields is that guy. I am yet to see what others are seeing in terms of this is our guy. I'm like, how, where, when?
I keep hearing he's going to be our quarterback for 15 years. What?
He can't last that long if he's going to run as much as he does.
So y'all have seen that ridiculousness too?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because I thought I was the only one seeing that ridiculous. The hype.
Justin Fields is going to be the guy who restores the Bears' roar. Yes, I've seen all that type of stuff. Yes.
Jay, you said something that kind of illustrates every point I've made about the Chicago Bears and why I don't follow them. They put in a quarterback that is supposed to be their quarterback of the future, Rex Grossman, hello. Justin Fields, hello. And they don't do a doggone thing. Again, 1984, Jim McMahon couldn't even start the NFC Championship game. He couldn't even start in the playoffs because he was hurt. Who started those 2 games? Steve Fuller. Won the game in Washington, got pummeled in San Francisco. Come on. I mean, not since Jim McMahon have they had, and I'm going to cuss, a consistent quarterback.
And it wasn't necessarily because Jim McMahon was a great quarterback.
Right.
They just had so much talent around him that those couple of years. And let's be honest, the Bears should have won more than one Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh, yes.
That team was loaded.
And one
it's a
by
crime to only
one,
win
And that's still the best team I've ever seen for a 1 year period.
and one by one,
Yeah, I
they
agree with you.
all left.
Yeah, I agree
Because
with
they
you.
saw what the organization was doing, and
And they
they
didn't want to have any
saw
parts of it.
they didn't want any parts of it whatsoever. They didn't want any part. They wanted no more parts of it. One of the biggest pieces to leave, and the dismantling started in 1988 on the defensive side, was Wilbur Marshall.
Probably the most underrated aspect of that whole defense.
And where did he go to? The Washington Redskins. And what happened after 1991? He won a second
another
Super
ring.
Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Won another ring.
All right, we're out of time. Jay Spivey joining us here on the program. Thank you, Jay, so much. Love having you. Love your insights. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
You too, brother.
We got to go. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
then they are simply not big enough.
One of mine came true. Every one of y'all's can come true also. God bless y'all. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya. The Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl.
She.